Okay. Does everyone have a sheet of paper in front of them?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna do this exercise together. Give me like 5 seconds.
Greta, that's a lovely new porch you've got there.
I'm visiting a friend in the mountains.
Oh,
Brad,
I thought that was your new place.
No, this is a friend's. I'm up in the mountains.
That's
So
lovely.
I got.
Wow, beauty.
It's a nice break. No, my place is not near this nice.
Glad you made time for us today.
All right, sorry, I did not manage my time all that well today, so I didn't have time to prep this, but I want to do an exercise with you guys, okay? This is very interactive, and although this is being recorded, I want to make sure that you guys know that what we're doing today is for your benefit, okay? I want to make sure that at the end of the day, you have a realization about time. You may never, okay? Before we actually get into this, I just want to say one quick thing. You guys have been doing great, okay? Doing great. We've had a number of closings this month already. You guys have been great at reporting your numbers for the most part. We are pretty much on track. Your conversion ratios are better than they've been in a while. Very, very proud of you. I'm gonna go on a limb and assume some of it is because of Bold. And that's just more and more of a validation for the importance of Bold. So remember, those of you that are in Bold, you can pretty much scrap your true monthly, or I'm sorry, weekly goals from 45 or 55 or 65 or whatever it is, and put 100, right? Because those that are in Bold, 20 contacts a day, 100 a week. Okay, so let's use this time to really fill our pipeline for the early fall and the end of the year. Make sense? Okay. Any thoughts, questions? Anyone have a burning desire to share a success or something that's concerning to them? No? Okay. I'm going to write a number on the top. Can you guys see this pretty good? I'm going to write a number on the top of this screen, or top of this page here. You guys tell me if you know what this number is. Ah, damn, you're not going to be able to see that. Hang on. Can you guys see that?
168.
Anyone know what that number is?
I do not.
Anybody know what 168 represents? Okay, 168 is the number of hours in a week. Number of hours in a week, okay? So, I'm gonna do a little experiment with you guys. Hopefully this turns out exactly like I want it to, but I'm willing to fail publicly. I want you to tell me, just shout out some things that you need to do every single week so we can take an accounting of how we spend our time, okay? So let's start, who wants to go first? What do we have to do every week?
Report our numbers.
Oh, Donna, gosh, this is the that you. I got to tell you, you get a hug. That was awesome. That was fantastic. Okay, well we'll mark that over here, just to make sure we don't forget, okay, because that'll take you about 30 seconds. Man, that was classic. I really did not set that up. I swear to you. Okay. What else did I miss? What do we do every week?
Jen.
We sleep.
Make calls.
Wanda, what did you say?
Make calls.
Okay, so that falls into lead gen. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second.
We sleep.
Sleep, yes. Ryan, how much sleep do you get?
Oh.
How much sleep should you get?
8 hours a night.
8 hours.
Oh, wish.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Let's do a little.
Oh, I wish.
So that
Well, he said should, not did. He said should.
I want to do should because I'm proving a point here. Okay, so we sleep 56 hours a week, yes? Okay.
Yes.
That would
so
be great.
Sleep, what else? We lead gen.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do, let's kind of be a little bit more broad there. Let's just say we work.
Okay.
So lead gen, of course, is a function of working, but let's just say we work, right? Our job. Okay, what else? Let's list it first, and we'll come back and do the hours.
We eat.
We eat, okay. What else?
Clean shop,
Guys,
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said exercise.
Exercise, great. Okay, what else?
clean shop, do laundry.
Okay, so let's say that, let's just call that household chores. Is that fine?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, what else?
We spend time with family and friends.
Family and friends. Let's even separate those. Okay, what else? Does anyone, I mean, let's be real. Does anyone watch TV or, go on social media or any of that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call that social media. What else?
Do we have exercise on there?
We do.
Yeah.
Did we get dressed?
Yeah.
Let's say get ready.
Mhm.
Michael and I chase chickens.
You chase.
Well, we do have to feed the chickens.
Okay, let's call that household chores. So when you're doing your personal calculations, we'll call that a household chore.
Do we have worship, meditation?
We don't. Let's do that. So let's say worship. We'll abbreviate that and say meditation or any type of spiritual commitment that you have. Anything
There's
else?
maintenance appointments, like doctors, hairdressers. I mean, and
Yeah.
that takes up significantly more time than just getting ready.
Oh, I
Yeah,
agree.
it is.
I agree. So let's say
All the girls are like, mm-hmm.
we'll just we'll say non-work appointments.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
We party.
Oh, yeah.
That's like your social
Oh,
commitment.
okay.
That's valid. Look, if you spend time doing it, I mean, we all need to interact with other humans, right?
Sure.
So that
Driving. We spend time driving.
okay, driving and social activities. All right, let's just do some estimating really fast. And I'm gonna put this as 8 for a second. Your work / your job, how many, actually, let me do it the other way. Let's call that 56, okay? How many hours a week do you work?
About 92.
80.
Exactly why you're in coaching. None of my coaching people should be working anywhere close to 90 hours a week.
Greta can attest to my 90 hours a week.
She does.
Okay, outside of Michelle, how many hours do we work?
So ideally, maybe 40 to 48.
Okay, I like that. Let's go on the high side and say that's 48. How about eating? How much time do you think we spend per week eating? Like an hour a day? Hour and a
Oh,
half?
God, more than that.
I eat more than that.
Oh,
2 hours a day?
I'm like 3.
I'd say 3 a day.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
I'm a slow eater.
That's 21 hours. All right. How much do we exercise?
Hour a day.
Okay, 7.
Hour, 3 days a week. Yeah.
Okay, let's be conservative here. Household chores. How much time do you think we spend doing household chores?
45 minutes, an hour a day.
Yeah.
I heard, I was listening this morning to somebody on YouTube who said and I'm not trying to get controversial here, although I'm sure I will. They said the average woman spends 2 hours a day dealing with the household chores, and the average male spends an hour and a half. So what do you think that number is? 2?
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it feels like more than 2 hours a day. It feels like a lot because it's not always at one time. It's here and there
Okay, let's say
while
it's
you have
20
time to
hours.
do
Is
it.
that cool?
All right.
Yep.
Okay, family
Yeah.
time. How much time do we spend with our family?
Oh,
Like 2
not
hours?
enough. I'm probably 30 minutes a day.
If you eat with your family, does that count or are we not counting that time?
I would not count that time because we've already counted it for something else. Michelle, can I repeat something I just heard you say?
Yes.
You said you spend 92 hours a week working. 30 minutes a day with your kids.
Yes, I do.
Okay, class dismissed. Okay, just kidding. Okay, family time, not eating. How much time do you spend? Maybe let's say an hour a day plus, let's say maybe 10 hours on the weekend, something like that.
Sure.
Is that fair? So what is that, like 15 hours? Okay, friends. You could probably incorporate that into social activities. Let's go ahead and do that. So friends / social. So this is non-work, go have a cocktail with my friend, go have coffee with my friend, whatever. What do you think that is? Like maybe half an hour a day on average. Maybe you do that twice a week, something like that.
You ever been to dinner in half an hour? I don't think that happens.
Okay, so what do you think that number is, Greta?
I know for me, it's high, probably too high. Thank you.
You're native to Georgia though.
Right, and you're doing some, that falls into a little
So
bit.
maybe I probably spend,
10?
yeah, maybe, yeah, 6 to 10.
All right, let's say 8. Okay, social media and TV. What do you think is reasonable, guys?
Oh, God.
It better be, Michelle, it better be more than 30 minutes a day, or it better be less than 30 minutes a day. That's for damn sure.
It's not. That's the bad thing.
There you go.
I hate it.
92 hours working, 30 minutes a day with your kids, and more than 30 minutes a day on social media. We've got some.
No, my husband and I were just talking about it this morning, that it's got to quit. It's like the vice. That's a horrible vice. It's just tuning out.
Let's give you 7 hours a week. Is that fair?
TikTok gives you a courtesy reminder that after an hour, you should go get something to drink or eat or exercise. That's kind of nice of them.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, getting ready. How much time does that take?
Oh, an hour a day.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
that's 7 hours a week. Worship.
5 minutes.
What's that? What is that? What should I put for that?
What is it?
Worship / meditation, like if you go to church or you do some meditation or prayers at home or something like that, say 4 hours a week, something like that. Is that
Yeah.
appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay. Non-work appointments, probably like an average of maybe an hour a week. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Driving. Not,
Oh, gosh.
this is included here, probably most of it. So let's say we do like an extra 5 hours of driving a week.
Yeah.
Like to
that
and
sounds
from
right.
other stuff. Okay, so that's 12, 16, 23, 30, 38, 53, 73, 80, 101, 149. Okay, we're out of time. 149 and 6, so that is, you guys have you guys have filled 205 hours.
Wow.
Okay,
That's
so
the problem.
that's a problem. Okay, so I'm going to show you where a few things I think are way overestimated. Well, let's take a look at what happened. Okay, in a perfect world, many of us say, "Oh, we got no time." What you're telling me is that if you say, "I don't have time for blank, I don't have time to research the market, I don't have time to study my scripts, I don't have time to look up the new market trends, I don't have time to watch a TV show with my kid," or something like that, right? What you're saying is it's just not a priority because you got plenty of time. You're just choosing to do something else during your time. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, so if somebody does all of this, you just flat out don't have the time to do it, which means that You're probably not going to exercise. You're probably not going to sleep as much as you should, right? You're probably going to be eating while you're working, right? You probably
Yep.
forget about meditation and worship, right? Your friends probably go by the wayside. Your family probably goes by the wayside. Make sense?
Yes.
So what we generally see, I'll walk you through kind of what I have learned before. Let's say we have 160 hours per week. We spend 56 of it sleeping. We spend, let's say, 45 of it working, right? Let's say we spend 7 of it exercising. And that leaves us with, so 56 plus 45 plus 7 is 108. That is 60 hours left. So we have slept an appropriate amount of time, more than most people can or will. We've worked a full day plus some, or full week plus some, and we have time to put out an hour a day of exercise, and we still have a full-time job and a half left. Does that make sense? So what I would do is I would start with this, and I would say, what if this stuff deserves this time? Does that make sense? So then you should rank all of these things here and say, do I have the time to have, let's say, 7 hours to get ready, or 7 hours to watch TV? Or would it be possible, let me just go out on a limb, even for those that aren't making a ton of money right now, let me give you one really good idea. This right here, that should be somebody else's job for the most part. Okay. If you can pay somebody, first of all, we are all worth easily $30 an hour, if not more. A high functioning realtor is probably worth more like $200 to $300 an hour. Okay. $200 to $300 an hour. So there shouldn't be a whole lot of $10 to $15 an hour type of work being done, right? Now,
Would you circle, is that the cleaning the house thing?
yes, household chores. Now, I want you to also keep in mind that if you have children, or if you have a spouse or something like that, they could potentially be helping with some of this stuff, right? So we can start to shave off some time here, right? But what I want you to think about is, if I've got 60 hours after I work out, after I work, after I sleep the appropriate amount of time, that's a lot of time, you guys, right? And many of us, by the way, we're not spending 3 isolated hours per day eating without doing something else, right? Oftentimes we're eating while we're driving, we're eating while we're watching TV, right? Or we're eating while we're hanging out with our family. Does that make sense? Okay, so what would you guys say out of this list is non-negotiable? Like, what absolutely has to happen?
Sleep.
Sleep's already accounted for. Sleep, working, and exercise is already accounted for.
Meditation, worship, that category.
Eating.
Okay, so now you are down to 56 hours, and you have met all of your spiritual needs. Okay, what else? Now that we have kind of a bit of a different perspective around this ended up being a lesson, but a little bit different lesson than I was expecting it to be, which is you don't have time to do everything you want to the max, right? And now let's get real specific around what we do have time for based on our priorities. So now we've taken the number of hours that we have in a week. We're sleeping appropriately. We're working, like, honestly, more than we should. And we're exercising an hour a day, which, is there anyone on this call that currently exercises more than an hour a day, or an hour a day at all?
No, but next meeting I'm bringing food and weights.
What did you say? Does that include carrying your to-go?
No, I said next team meeting I'm bringing some weights and food.
Yeah, that doesn't count, Justin. Okay, so you're a spiritual, you have met all your spiritual needs plus all this stuff. You still got 56 hours left. What else are we doing during that time?
Yeah, but you've got to include like eating isn't in there and you have to eat maybe not that much, many hours, but also the and like showering and getting ready. That
Okay, fair. Well, I'm asking you to prioritize. So that I think eating and
those are musts. Maybe not, maybe you have to cut down on that time, but you have to do those things.
agreed. Ryan, in your opinion, how much time would that be?
Well, the showering and getting ready part, I mean, that's going to vary for men and versus women, honestly.
So am I showing the fact that I'm a man by saying that's like an hour a day?
Yeah, I mean, if a man spent an hour a day, I would, that would be unusual.
Max.
But
Overall, for a woman, let's say,
yeah, I mean, an hour a day seems,
hour a day. So 7 hours. Okay, so now we're down to 49 hours and you are clean and presentable.
and the eating, I think, I don't spend 3 hours a day eating, or if I do, I'm going to be doing something else.
Yes.
Like combining it with the TV watching or the
Family.
social media part or the whatever.
Okay. So should we put in a certain number of outside hours that we should give ourselves time to eat? Would that be like an hour a day or an hour and a half a day?
I mean, you can take out all the eating as far as I'm concerned. I can eat while I work, but it's the meal prep, shopping.
Right.
It's all of the stuff, for those of us, and I see Corey popped up there nodding, for those of us who don't have kids, we can labor out. I can't hire someone to go to the store for me. I can't hire someone to do all these things.
You absolutely could hire someone to go to the store.
I can't.
What are you talking about?
No.
You can't do Instacart?
They don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I mean, that would be a lot of prep work that I could go in and do the shopping in less time than I take to prep to get someone else to do it.
Okay.
Going to the grocery store is my prime lead gen.
Just to give you, let me give you just a different way of thinking about that. I'm not suggesting you're wrong or right. I'm just giving you a slightly different way of thinking about it. Do you think it would be possible to find somebody who is capable of earning less than you per hour? You could bring them to your house and say, or take them to the grocery store and say, this is how I pick out peaches. This is how I pick out the, lettuce or celery or whatever. Okay, this is how I like my food prep to be. I'm going to pay you X number of dollars per hour. Are you interested in this job? Do you think there's a person out there that would love that job?
No, I don't. I don't think there's someone out there that can do it. And then they'll come back and they won't have what I need, and then I'll have to go back to the store anyway. So I don't think that's something that can form it.
We'll finish this conversation outside of this call, but I would venture to say there is somebody that could do that job for you.
If you spent enough time on TikTok, you would know that Hello Fresh is our best friend.
Okay, so
They do the meal prep for you.
we have meditated. We have 49 hours left. Let's say that we just knock off those 9 hours for eating. Now we're down to 40 hours. We haven't done any food prep given, but for some that's not a priority. So we have 40 hours left, guys, to do social time with our family or friends, to drive to non-work appointments, right? To see what's going on in the world. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of your social media, quite frankly, and I'm not here to judge you, but a lot of it's happening during your work time anyway, right? So this is bonus social media time. This is just being online for the sake of being online. Does that make sense? So what ahas do we have? We have time for a whole nother job, y'all.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't.
Okay, so what am I missing?
Mowing the lawn, folding the laundry, doing, all of those chores, going to.
Okay, so let's go back to household chores.
Getting gas. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Okay, is it?
I wanted to ask, Bill, when are we actually supposed to be waking up? Because
Totally up to you. In this exercise, it doesn't really matter because
you're spending hours, so that's why I was asking based off the hours. I mean, you're talking just like a 24-hour day, but I'm saying like if you're talking about morning, like what time are you waking up, being able to accomplish all that stuff? I don't know.
Well, this is just this is designed to help you
Mhm.
identify where in your day
Day.
there is
Mhm.
wasted time. So whether
Gotcha.
you wake up at 6 in the morning or 10 in the morning, you still have you still should be sleeping an appropriate amount of time, right? And you still
Yeah.
work whenever you work or exercise whenever you exercise. So when this stuff happens, that's totally on you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I do believe, Greta, I'll give you credit for that. I do believe we don't have any time for household chores. Well, I do believe that as a professional real estate agent, you should not be mowing your grass or folding laundry. There are some people that are going to be doing that. Let's just say that takes 20 hours, which I think is a lot. We still got 20 hours left. We still have a whole day left.
You don't have the showering in there.
You don't have any social activities in there. You don't have any downtime in there.
Oh yeah, you need friends and family and social in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're eventually going to eliminate this by going back and naming this stuff, right? The point is that we've got to examine how we're spending our time so that we can determine if we have the energy we need to have the life we're seeking, right? So we said 20, we didn't have any time for getting ready, right? I think we had 9 hours for eating, right? And 20 hours for chores. 20 hours for chores, you could fit in cutting the grass once every 2 weeks or whatever, right? Right? I mean, I've paid a high school kid the last 5 years.
Bill, you're hilarious.
I'm not, I understand that sounds like a privilege, but I have no interest in folding my clothes. I don't get any satisfaction from it, and I'm a business owner, and I can make a lot more than $10 an hour.
Yeah.
For a high school kid, $10 an hour is like a windfall. And they come over and they make the stack go away, right? They say, this is where you put the girls' underwear, this is where you put the son's underwear, this is where you put my t-shirts, that's where you put my wife's t-shirts. Are you interested in this job? You're seriously going to pay me $25 to do this? Yes. You want it? Yes. Okay, great. Never have to think about that again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not the best laundry folder, I promise. You're much better than I am. And my wife doesn't want to do it either. She's a business owner. You see what I'm saying? It's a matter of keeping the peace in the house. If I do the laundry, I'm going to be pissed. If she does the laundry, she's going to be pissed. That's not good for either of us. You see what I'm saying?
Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think this is, I love this exercise. I would love to get to the place where I can pay somebody to do all my household chores and shopping and food prep. I'm just not there yet. You know, I do outsource my lawn care, and that feels great to not have to worry about it. I'd love to get to the place where I don't have to, you know, do the things like taking care of with my kids. I have to have a certain amount of things that I prepare. So for those of us, I'm sure I'm not the only one. So for those of us that, you know, like there's got to be we can get there, but there's this place where we're not there yet. You know, so maybe we're looking at things, that's kind of the goal, but then, and that could be another conversation, for another day, but just pointing that out, that we can make that the goal, but then there is this thing about the reality of some of our situation, that, I don't know, am I the only one who, anybody else want to speak up and give me a?
Absolutely. I second.
Yeah,
But it is
not
the
there
goal.
yet.
We're not there yet.
Oh, I hear you, guys. I appreciate you saying that, Corey, and that's a very valid point, obviously, right? So what we said is after sleep, working, and exercise, meditation, 20 hours of household chores. That's meal prep, that's cutting the grass every couple weeks, that's folding the laundry, whatever.
Hi.
chores
Good, how are you?
you- right?
I had talked to Bennett yesterday that there's still that gurgling noise.
9 hours of eating. And I think we wanted to put in getting ready here, right? So let's just say 10 hours of getting ready. So now we're at 24, 33, 43. We still have 17 hours left. Right. So whether you can eliminate some of this stuff by paying somebody else to do it or not, 20 hours of chores, if we're efficient, I'm just going to go on a limb and say I think we could probably manage that. And if not, you still have 17 hours. Now, if you do this exercise yourself and you determine what your priorities are over here, based on your current, family situation and where you are financially and all that stuff, right? And you realize that you have more than 168 hours, you got to go in here and examine how much, what are the priorities? Am I adding something that I just flat out don't have the time to do? Or could I do this in 18 hours? Right? Could I do that in 17 hours? Can I find some extra time? Now,
Bill, so that's my aha is when you're looking at this, it's like, I don't know what gets removed in this conversation needs to happen with my significant other. So I grew up in a family where we ate at the same table every night. I don't do that right now with my family. And I'm thinking there's time that we need to figure out, how do we do this again? Somehow we've gotten away from it. How do we, so this exercise, my aha is, this is not my exercise to do alone. I need to go do this with my wife and three kids, my chickens and my dog.
Absolutely. And those that have significant others that can help with some of these chores, then that relieves you from other obligations, right? And one thing that we didn't put in here was that I think deserves to be in here is relaxing time, right? So let's say that we need to relax an hour a day. We tune out the world, not on social media. We're not meditating. We've already taken credit for that. We're not like working alone in the office. That's already worked, right? This is like zoning out and not thinking about anything. So now let's say we do 7 hours of that. We still got 10 hours. So Justin, great observation there. What I would do is do this with your family, do this with anyone that's impactful. And this might sound a little harsh, okay? And I'm not suggesting that I'm perfect at this by any means, okay? But Justin, when your family does not eat together, what you're saying is that eating together is not a priority. So you then have to go to your wife and say, hey, I'm just curious, is eating together a priority for us? And if she says no, then there's no need to make any changes unless you want to, right? But if she says, yeah, you know what? I actually would kind of like to eat together as a family. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, let's not just assume so. Let's confirm that it is a priority. And then it will, the truth of the matter will come out when you assign time to it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Because is it fair to say, like, could you go home and have dinner with your family at 7:30 at night? At 7:30 at night, have you worked enough? Probably, right? And if not, go take half an hour away and sit with your kids and sit with your family and whatever you need to do, and then go finish work afterwards. But anything that we ignore or we don't get to, what we're saying is we are choosing to do something else. So somebody says, well, I don't have time to make phone calls during the day. I'm gonna call you out on that. I just don't think that's true. You're not folding laundry and cutting your grass all day long. You're not. And if so, maybe you should start a lawn mowing business or a laundry folding business. Does that make sense? Okay, give me some other. Yeah.
I would like to see this in a part-time view as well too. I know a couple of people that's doing real estate part-time to just really see, after you work 40 hours a week and still have time to eat and do everything, like where do you really have time? I mean, I kind of make time, but realistically, like people work, you're 40 hours per week with real estate. But if I work 40 hours at another job, then like, what is my time like?
That's a great, thank you for bringing that up. That's a great point. So I'm going to give you a simple answer for that, which is to get here, we said to ourselves that we're working 45 hours a week. So, and we were theoretically calling that real estate, right? However, if you have another job that requires that amount of time, then you've taken care of your other job by accounting for this amount of time. And then when all this stuff is accounted for, that's the amount of time that you have for real estate. And if that's the case, then all the more reason, presumably you are looking to lower this number and increase this number, right? If that's the case, then you should say to yourself, how do I take this 10 hours, if you can't edit any of this stuff, and say, what do I need to do in the 10 hours every week to move my real estate business forward? You see what I'm saying? So if you're occupied with another job up here, we've already accounted for that time. Now we just have to account for what time you're going to get to real estate. And a real estate is going to essentially get whatever's left, right? In this scenario, it's 10 hours a week. So here's the deal. Let's say in 10 hours a week, you're able to, I don't know, let's just go out on a limb and say you're able to make $60,000. Okay. Now, if this is not enough, then we got to go and examine all this other thing, right? Could we go down to 35 hours or 30 hours at our other job? Could we eat while we do our other job? Could we exercise while we're doing social media, right? Can we have the kids help with some chores, right? Could we do 3 hours of meditation instead of 4 hours of meditation, right? Could we sleep 7 hours instead of 8 hours, right? Could we exercise 1 hour a day, 4 days a week instead of 7 hours a week? So basically, if we're all given the same 24 hours, you have to ask yourself, what am I absolutely committed to? In this scenario, you're really, probably your largest commitment is your other job, right? And then so you just have to essentially, you should be even more picky about how you're spending your minutes, right? And then whatever's left over, I hate to do it that way, but whatever's left over is where you give to real estate and you just make progress there, right? So if I had 10 hours to give to real estate, like I've said for the last year plus, we're going to spend about half of that time learning and about half of that time growing our business, right, through lead gen, right? So we spend we spend 5 hours a week getting better at our presentations, better at our scripts, better at our objection handlers, better at negotiation, better at building our systems, that kind of stuff. And then the other half of the time, we're expanding our network, right? We're getting into relationship with more people. We're adding value to whatever they need help with, right? There are plenty of times, by the way, people that claim to be full-time in this business that waste pretty much 100% of the time they claim they're working, right? They're not.
And I agree with that, Bill, too. And just to your point, like about hiring people to do stuff, because I do have a virtual assistant. I do have someone who come and clean my house monthly, and also, just to do different chores just because I don't have time. But I mean, I do understand that certain people can't make that happen, but I do have to outsource a lot of that stuff.
Right. I'm not, I don't want you guys to leave this conversation with saying, he doesn't understand my situation, or I don't have a significant other, or I don't have children that could help, or, I need to meditate for 10 hours a week and that's not the number he came up with. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to say, we all have the same amount of time. And I think it's fair to say that we're all wasting time, right? And so I'm going to encourage you to do this exercise either by yourself or with those that you're in relationship with, your kids, your husband, your spouse, your wife, whatever, and see, are there any things, guys, that we're currently doing that we should not be doing? Is there anything that we are doing that we really should be doing more of? right? Let's say,
Well, my wife came to me one day and she said, Justin, what if you spent the time on social media consuming and turn that into producing content? And I said, that would save me a lot of time and create more business.
okay,
Why am I consuming this much content?
yeah. And like we were kind of speaking about on the 8 o'clock call this morning, that is a moment that has the potential to change your life, right? Because what she's really saying is, I'm frustrated, Justin, that you're consuming so much content, and as a result, I'm noticing blank, blank, and blank happening, one of which is probably not having family dinner. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, Bill. I know we've got to wrap up soon, and there are a couple categories I thought that we haven't considered yet. And so one of them is personal growth, whether it's sharpening the saw, like could be art, could be reading, just whatever it is. So that I don't know how much time, I don't think we have to allot for too much, but maybe let's say 2 to 3 hours out of that 10-hour balance.
Okay. I think some of that
And then
incorporated in this like relaxing personal time, like that could be when you're doing your art or reading or something of that nature. But I agree with you. So
okay.
let's say personal needs or personal.
Yep. And then the other one, the balance for the rest of it, I would just say miscellaneous, because people have random stuff that creeps up during their day and they just need to, it's not planned, and they just need to take their time. So I don't think everything can be so planned, for everybody. Maybe for, type A's and for certain people who are very regimented with their calendars. I know for myself, I'm completely the opposite. So I need flex time. So I don't know. Anybody else agree that we need some flex time on the calendar?
Oh, I agree with that. That's for
I
sure.
totally agree.
What we find though is that the flex time, more often than not for most people, is way up here, right? So that it's actually probably right here, meaning it is what causes us to sleep less, work less, not exercise, not have family dinner, these kind of things. So flex time is important, but many of us, in my opinion, prioritize it way before the vast majority of the things that it should be that you need to be executing.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a
So-
fair point.
Greta?
To speak to that, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm guilty of it, because whenever I'm presented with a fire, and that's what I would call the flex time, is fire time, really. When there's
Yeah.
a problem, it needs to be addressed right now. Well, it off puts, and then I need to focus on making that happen, especially those people that have kids at home that they're dealing with. There's a lot of fire time involved there. So how do you, I guess maybe that's something I need to think about. Being able to prioritize what's a fire and what's not.
That's exactly where I was
Take it
headed.
off.
That's exactly where I was headed, is we have to say to ourselves, what needs to be handled immediately. Like, there's not that many, to be honest, been in this business a fair amount of time. Like, there's not that many fires in real estate, right? Like if like I walked into I was helping a woman rent a home, or a family rent a home in a really nice house in Sandy Springs. It's like a $4,000 a month house, and we walked in to move in, and the sprinkler system was going off, and so literally there was like an inch of water on the floor. All the walls were soaking wet, and it was spraying everywhere. Okay, that is a literal emergency. Okay, but like somebody wanting an update on a showing that happened 3 days ago, that's not an emergency.
But I'm thinking more of it, maybe this is too a mindset. I'm just thinking more of it if one of my kids calls and there's an issue, that's a fire. One of the kids comes home and they have a project, that's a fire. One of the, it's generally around family. And maybe that's a mom mindset over a real estate agent mindset.
Well, I can't speak to that. However, what I can tell you is that they, gosh, I'm probably towing the line here, but it only becomes an
Okay, you have been,
emergency
so.
because you tended to it, right? If I, like, my wife and I have like kind of this unspoken rule, if you will, like, I'm at work, like I don't, I'd honestly, I'd rather be at home, but I'm at work. And so when I'm at work, I'm doing what I need to do so I can go home, right? And so if you call me and I'm in the middle of something, I'll get to you as soon as I get to you. If you call me like 3 times in a row, then I'm going to drop everything and tend to you, right? But in the meantime, like, I'm focused, laser focused on all of these things because I want to have the freedom of my time, right? So the more I can focus and knock out this stuff, the more I'll be available to everybody else, right? So if your kid calls that lives elsewhere and you don't know whether it's an emergency or not, so if you're in the middle of a lead gen session or you're in the middle of the exercise or something, then you just tend to it 30 minutes later. And maybe you have a system with your kid that says, look, if you got an emergency, not like, hey, I just wanted to chit chat about this, school class I'm taking or something, like, then you call me 3 times in a row or something like that. So you don't immediately just say, well, I'm the mom, I got to tend to every problem, big or small, right now. Am I being totally an idiot right now?
A little bit, but that's okay. You're trying.
I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, you're trying. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I think there's there's a meeting in the middle. I think you're on one end and I'm on the other, and I think we both probably could give a little bit, because when you say you're going to try, you want to have the life that you want to live, there's there's nothing. I mean, we're agreeing there's more to it than what's available. And so I do think it goes back to the point of what's important to
That
you.
is the bottom line right
Yeah,
there. I'm
what's
glad you circled back to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, I think if the only takeaway from this exercise, guys, is that there is time wasted somewhere. And wherever you dedicate your time, you are essentially saying that's a priority. And my only request of you is to re-examine that. So that if you're sitting here thinking, I really do not give enough time to my family, then you reconsider all the other ways you spend time and make a commitment to add a certain amount of time to my family. You might be sitting here and thinking, gosh, I don't spend enough time on my business. I haven't worked 45 hours ever in a week. If that's the case, look at how you're spending the rest of your time honestly and evaluate, do I need to make an adjustment here? Right? Like I used to be, or still friendly with a guy named Chad Himes, who was a big trainer at KW. And he said, I used to plan spontaneity, right? So like his flex time happened in a planned time, right? At 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, that's when I'm spontaneous. Hey, what should we go do? I've carved out the time. Do I feel like going for a walk? Should I go to the movies? Should I have dinner with my kids? I'm flexible. You see what I'm saying? But that's only going to happen if you carve out the time, right? If you don't monitor it, it can't be managed, right? If you don't record it, it can't be managed. Let's end on that note. I think it all boils down to priority, and your priority is going to be different than my priority. It's going to be different from Donna's priority or whatever. And priorities will change as your relationships evolve and as your kids grow and as your business grows and these kind of things. But I think it's safe to say that all of us should probably do this exercise and find some opportunity for you to get in better alignment with what you really do believe is a priority. Is that fair?
Yeah, and that applies to business too, right?
Yeah, of course.
I did an open house and I was like, why am I doing an open house? I should spend this time doing other stuff. I've never benefited from an open house. Other people have, I don't. Why am I doing this?
Well, I would go perhaps in a different direction with you on that, but I would say, hey, is open houses the highest and best use of my time, right? Am I achieving my goals for appointments and income and leads and all that without having to do an open house? And if so, I shouldn't do it. But if my business sucks right now and I don't have any people that are ready to buy or sell, would open houses be a good idea? And here's another question. is there a way that I could involve some other things that are important to me while I'm participating in the open house? For example, can I get my kids to help me put out the signs? Would that be a fun exercise? Right? So just think a little bit through, like, I'm not saying, look, open houses are productive if you make it productive, right? If you wake up at 11 o'clock and you go buy 2 signs or 2 balloons and 2 people come to the open house, you haven't really worked the open house. And I'm not suggesting that's your case, Justin. But if you say, hey, on Sunday, I'm going to do an open house, and for the next 6 days, I'm going to tell the world about it, and you make a big production about it, and then it's probably going to be a lot more worthwhile, right? And by the way, that's work time. So if you're going to work more on the weekends, then is it possible that you can, pick up your kids at 2 o'clock and hang out with them the rest of the day?
Or I can give someone $25 to do it. They can then go pay $25 to someone to go fold their clothes, and I spend the time doing what I do best. They spend time doing what they do best.
That's exactly right. And here's the thing, like I used to pick up my kids from school every day in the middle of the day. And yeah, I could pay somebody to do that. I'm not going to do that though, because I get fulfillment from that. Right? That was something that was important for me to do. I wasn't calculating my ROI on that time. Okay. But things that I don't enjoy doing and that I don't get any fulfillment from, like cutting my grass, that's going to become somebody else's job. Right? And if I'm not able to afford that right now, then I'm going to do it at a time that makes sense for me based on all of my other priorities. It's basically going to be done at a time where no one would dare expect to receive a call from me as a real estate agent. I'm definitely not doing it at 2 o'clock on a Sunday. Does that make sense?
I think one thing that too, I know we're over our time, but just thinking about like the work time, it's easy to say that you work 60 hours a week, but I think part of this too is looking at like what's productive work and what's not. Like you can be busy and you can be doing things, but how much, I think it's helpful to look at like how much time are you spending trying to figure out this, or how much time are you spending in non-revenue generating type of activities that are work.
I think,
like you might spend a lot of time driving here and there and here and there. Well, you need to find a way to make driving more productive. But I think there's
right.
Like you say you're working all day, but
right, while you're driving, maybe you're listening to the podcast or listening to audiobook or something. I think you're exactly right. Again, it all boils down to your personal priorities based on where you are in your world, business, family, financially, etc. And there is no right or wrong answer. I'm not here to tell you that you're doing great or not. What I'm asking you to do is take an audit of your time. We all got 168 hours in the day. How is it that some of us aren't hitting our goals, right? How is it that we have agents in our office that are literally making 6 figures in a month, right? Does it make sense? I hope this was helpful, guys. Please don't feel judged. Everyone's got a different story. And even if you have 10 hours a week to give to real estate, let's make sure that you're doing exactly the right stuff during that 10 hours so that you're getting the most out of it, right? We have a number of people that are dual career on the call now and in the group, right? So if you're dual career, you should be 10 times as stingy with all this other stuff, right? You just got 2 jobs. You see what I'm saying? Or 2 professional jobs and a bunch of other things that you got to take care of. Make sense? All right, I hope this was helpful, you guys. As always, it is designed to give you clarity on your focus and on your time. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions that you want to address in private, of course, feel free to reach out. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Today, by the way, Michelle Slater is going to be in the office generating leads publicly. So if you would like to listen to her do her thing, that is happening right now. Okay, have a great day.
And I just want to give one
Oh wait, Candace, go ahead.
I'd like to give one The aha is no matter how you decide to use your time, the important thing is to get intentional about it.
Very, very.
That's,
very well said. Thank you.
that's what I got out of it. I can do it my own way, but if I, thank you.
Try that one more time. I didn't hear that.
I said, even if I get intentional about some things and not everything, I've made progress. So just getting intentional about time is important.
Love it. Love it. Thank you guys. This has been wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bill.